Hi, it's me again with Corel all tips and tricks. And the other day I was helping somebody design a earring, something like this, and I came up with this. And this is the finished product. It might be a little bit too big for most women. It's 2 inches. Some women could wear it. I've got a little oil finish on it. It didn't even dry yet. And just before I get off these pictures, this is how you would sand something like this. Put it back into the wood. This centerpiece would fall out. Put it back in there, and when you sand it with your orbital sander, it'll sand these pretty thin, fine lines. They're strong enough to survive an earring or even a pendant, but the orbital sander might break them. So how did I design that? Pretty easy. And this is what they wanted to know. It doesn't matter what size you start with, but we're gonna go to our common shapes or basic shapes, depending on what version you have. Pick the heart, holding down the control button to make it perfect. I'd go ahead and go to object and convert it to a curve, and then take this middle node and maybe take the shape tool and start moving and hold down the control button. Just make it a little bit more. And then you could always put it back. And if you wanted to, you could, mirror that and change it and everything. And then there's two ways to look at making the lines. We're going to go to effects and contour. You can contour. We're going to use rounded corners. I'm going to contour to the outside 0.02 7 times. You want an odd amount. And that looks pretty good. If you go inside, it's not going to look as pretty. See what it does? So we want to go to the outside, those 7 times. Well, I'm just going to recontour it to the outside. You want 7 times so you have a odd number of rings. And then on this picture, and at this time, see, I just don't like that. When I did that, I made these a little better. That's still not perfect, but it's going to work for the video. So at this time, I'd go and go to object and break the contour apart, and then make it with your ratio lock, and that wouldn't really matter, make it 2 inches. So your earring isn't going to be too big, and you can make it smaller, but I don't think you could have this many rings in it. And then what we're going to do, we're going to take the Smart Fill tool and actually make these rings. And it's 2 inches. Our nudge factor we'll set it on 3. We'll take the Smart Fill tool and we'll fill in the outside and we'll move it over. We'll skip one and move it over. We'll skip one and move it over. Skip one and move it over. Now we have 4 different objects. We're going to go up here and left click no fill, right click hairline and make sure it's a hairline. And then you can bring in another heart with your basic shapes or common shapes and just kind of look at it, hold down the control button and put it, about, say, right in there. But you want to make sure it's equal. So what we can do to make sure it's equal, remember we broke these apart, so let's group them together, Control G, and let's hit P and put them in the center of the page. That's going to help us. Now I'm going to take my heart and hit P, put it in the center of the page. So now it is in the center of the page. And what we're trying to do with the heart is keep it from these small lines breaking. So now we can hold down the control button and bring it up, just so we encompass all the lines. Then I'd make a duplicate of that guy and maybe bring it down here, just so you encompass all the lines, maybe even go a little bit further, about right in there. Now, if you will select everything and go to weld, this is what you're going to get. So this, if we change our Smart Fill tool to like a color of wood, let's say that right there, that's what your earring is going to look like. So then you're going to need somewhere to place the eyelet. So we're going to make a little circle, hit P, put it in the center of the page, go ahead and grab our pick tool, start moving up and then hold down the control button and put it about right there. Now, a couple ways you can do it. Probably the safest way is just to take your You could weld it, but sometimes it doesn't always work like this. Take and cut these lines out. Then what you want to do is go ahead and put in a smaller circle for the eyelet. I made mine 0.125, but it might be a little bit big. So on this one, we're going to go 0.1. And then I'm going to hit P, put it in the center of the page, start moving it, hold down the control button and put it right up in there. Now what we need to do, because these pieces are broken pieces of line, we're going to take our Smart Fill tool and fill that in. And then move our Smart Fill out of the way. And we're going to left click, right click, and make sure it's a hairline. And then that is ready to cut out. Let's go ahead and delete all this. It doesn't, I'm not happy with the shape of the heart. So you might want to, try to accentuate, the inside heart a little bit, before we did anything. So this will have more of a rounded heart shape. But that looks pretty good. People will get the idea. And then just take it to your laser and cut it. Take the board you're going to cut it out of, and you can sand both sides. And what this does, it keeps the orbital sander is pretty, even with 220 grit paper, might catch an edge and break these little lines. Now, if you're going to make it smaller than 2 inches, I would just eliminate, one of these bars. So just have 3 instead of 4, be a little bit stronger, a little bit more, it'll look just as good. Because, some people might not like that large size. Anyway, I hope that helped them a little bit. Thank you for watching.